All right, and we are back once again. Murmaider here with Hell22. And we were supposed to have the scenario here tonight with us. However, something came up. I'm not sure.
Well, he got confused, you remember? Because we said he could be on episode 24.
Right.
And then last week we said it was 24, so he thought he missed it.
Oh, yeah.
But this is actually 24.
But I think he said something about having to catch the Jersey Shore
Oh, yeah, that's right.
this week or something.
Said something about GTL?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means, but whatever.
And he's going to the gym. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, well, we have a couple of reviews that we want to go over that we just did this past week. Hell22, you did a band called Akribi.
Yep, I did a review for a band called Akribi. I have to tell you that when I sat down to listen to the album, I got it in front of me and I'm looking at it. And the album artwork is very dark. Yeah, it's kind of got this like a lighthouse in like this brown and black sprawling cover with like a bird sitting in the foreground. And I kind of thought I had an idea of what I was going to be listening to, but not quite. So I'm doing my research and I go to their website and they have this entire portion of their website dedicated to music theory, which I thought was interesting. So I started reading through that and they used this quote from the great jazz artist Duke Ellington, where he said, "If it sounds good, it is good." I'm like, okay. So I go into the album thinking like maybe this is going to be something crazy. Well, basically the problem with the album that I had was that they don't do any one thing particularly great. I mean, there's things that they're good at. The keyboards on the album are phenomenal, but I think they just tried to do too much rather than just focusing on what they were great at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, really it's kind of disjointed. There are some songs that are really, really strong and some songs that are not so much. So the first song on the album is called The Puppies of War, which... yeah, the face you're making at me right now is kind of the face I made when I looked at the track list the first time. But the keyboards on it remind me of Dream Theater. There was so much great musicianship, but then the vocals fell short. It's like she wasn't quite... I compared her when I told you about this album, I compared her to the lead singer of Operatica. She's a fine singer, but she just doesn't have the power in her voice to carry a band. Right. And I felt the same way with this band. I mean, again, it's not bad. I know our friend in Light and Darkness had commented he thinks with a little polish this could be a really good band, and I absolutely agree. I just think they need to fine tune their sound a little bit. Now, a band who doesn't need to fine tune their sound anymore, Murmaider, you did a review of that goddamn new Insomnium album. We've been waiting a while for this one.
That we have. Yep, they just did a new album. It's called One for Sorrow. And for those of you who are not familiar with Insomnium, they are a progressive melodic death metal band, as I like to put it. And their new album it's got to be up there as one of their best so far. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. As you listen to it, most of the songs are well balanced. They have a lot of fast and slow tempos that change up a lot, and like they're not all just in your face death metal the entire time. They do have some slower progressive parts to it. Some acoustic parts are in there as well that really calm things down at certain points of the album. But of course, the vocals consist of violent growling through most of the verses and the songs, and really knock you on your ass when you hear them. I was really impressed with the new album. Definitely check it out if you haven't gotten a chance to yet. You don't want to miss this album. Now, you did another review of the band 3, who we've been a fan of for a while now.
Yeah, this was another one, it kind of snuck up on me. I knew it was coming out, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it was. So I popped that one in, and we were both huge fans of the album The End Has Begun. That was that hit heavy rotation, and we've recently been kind of spreading the gospel of 3, kind of expanding some people that we know into their catalog. But I was a little worried going into this album. I wasn't sure what they were going to do, could they top that, and they had the album Revisions in between, which is kind of them redoing older songs.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure where this album was going to go, and I'm going to tell you that I was not disappointed. And even you remember a couple of weeks ago we saw them open for Within Temptation,
right,
and they announced they were playing a new song, the song Sparrow. And I remember when they were done, I kind of wasn't sure how I felt about it. I thought there were some great parts to it, and a couple parts that I wasn't so keen on. On the album, that song is great. It's absolutely great.
Better.
Absolutely. And I think, it's one of those things when you go to a show, sometimes it's better if you know the songs first. That way you know what you're looking for.
Right.
But this album is absolutely fantastic. I have not a bad thing to say about the entire album. Joey Eppert is absolutely one of the most entertaining frontmen I've ever seen. I mean, the guy can sing his ass off.
Yeah.
He plays the guitar like a fucking beast.
Yep.
And I think this album is proof that this band is really a force to be reckoned with. A couple tracks, if I had to give you a couple, that you absolutely have to check out. The song Numbers is absolutely unreal, and it is 3 at their absolute heaviest. There's some like really heavy stomping guitars. I was just blown away by what they accomplished on this. The song Pretty also is a big one for me. That was, I couldn't believe it. And then when the song It's Alive came on, for some reason I looked and I thought it said Creature Lives.
Yeah, when you said that just now, when you said that, I thought of Mastodon.
So, it took me a second and I went back and kind of went, okay, all right, It's Alive. That's a big one. And it's crazy. There's this crazy acoustic guitar riff going where it's kind of like this, when it comes together, it almost sounds like you're at like a hoedown, like this. You expect the jug band to come in, but then all of a sudden the guitars, like the distortion, just comes crushing in, and it just it's such a good song. So I honestly, in my opinion, as of right this moment, I think they topped The End Has Begun.
Well, let me ask you a question. What did you think of the drumming, as opposed to some of their earlier stuff on The End Has Begun? Do you remember how there was some distinct drumming patterns that they had, or didn't they have certain types of drums on there? You said you seen them live years ago.
Yep. And, saw them in 2008 on the Progressive Nation tour. They actually had a second drummer. He's no longer in the band. Apparently he left the band shortly after Progressive Nation.
Oh, okay.
So there isn't as much of the ridiculously crazy drumming, only because now you're down to one drummer, as opposed to two kind of playing off each other. But their drummer, I think his name is Chris Gartman, but they call him Gart Drum. He absolutely shines on a couple of these tracks. I was pretty impressed, and that's actually one of the parts of the song Numbers that I really liked. Is there's a great drum beat. He's got some great fills in there. He doesn't steal the show often, but when he does, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Yeah, I haven't heard it yet myself, the album, but I am definitely excited to check it out soon. But now you did another review this past week, right?
Yep.
On a band called Agartha. Am I saying that right?
I sure hope you're saying it right, because I don't know. The album is called V. I assume it's 5 or V, either way. One-man band again. It's a guy by the name of Adam Phillips. Does everything from Nashville, Tennessee, which, as you know, is big country capital of the world.
Was there any country tones in this
album?
Not
at all. The opening track, I was pretty impressed, because he's a lot of piano work and some atmospheric keyboards. The vocals were actually pretty good, almost like a blackened death metal vocal, like kind of somewhere between the screech and the growl, which I was really impressed by. But what brought the album to a grinding halt for me is that there's a little too much metalcore. There's too much of that like really mechanical drumming and guitar work where honestly you don't know if there's even a person playing.
Right.
It's just like it's just kind of it just got really tiresome. And it really sucks because a lot of the songs were really strong. Vocals were great, but as the album went on, it leaned a little more to the metalcore side and a little bit farther away from that thrash and Black and Death that he was doing in the beginning. So I mean, if you get a chance to check out the album, definitely give it a listen. There's a couple standout tracks that might catch your interest, but on the whole, definitely not an album of the year candidate.